Welcome back to another edition of Behind the Burnt Orange Curtain. I'm Rod Babers. This is TexasSportsConnection.com. Usually talking a lot of Longhorn football. Of course, not a ton of Longhorn football to talk, but signing day, February 3rd, that is the big day. The next landmark, trademark location on the calendar for all Longhorn football fans. And a lot of Longhorn fans are worried. My friends at 247 Sports at Horns247.com, they have the Longhorns 2016 class ranked now at number 34th in the country. Now, that's not that much to be worried about when you consider that there are teams like K-State, teams like Baylor, teams like Oklahoma State that have won the Big 12 without a top 25 consensus ranked class in any of those teams that won the Big 12. I mean, if Charlie Strong can develop talent and he knows what he's looking for, really the rankings don't really matter. But I understand why Longhorn fans are freaked out. Why shouldn't they be? This is a team that is accustomed, or at least a program that is accustomed to getting some of the best recruiting classes in the country, especially coming from the Mack Brown era. And that's what Charlie Strong is dealing with right now. He's dealing with being in the shadow of Mack Brown, a guy, even when he had underachieving recruiting classes, got top 10, top 15 recruiting classes. Hard for Longhorn fans to fathom Charlie Strong getting a 34th, 35th ranked recruiting class in the country and still having that recruiting class being one that could not only compete for the Big 12, but also compete nationally for a national title. So this is something that also Longhorn fans are dealing with. The other issue for Longhorn fans really relates to the Big 12, more of a macro issue than a micro issue. The Big 12 is thinking about having a championship game, and I think they have to have a championship game just to kind of fortify their relevance in the college football landscape. There are 5 major football conferences. All of them have title games except the Big 12. That's an issue. The Big 12 also is the only team with 10 teams among those Power 5 leagues. So this is an issue. So whether the Big 12 ends up getting the waiver to have a 10-team league and get a title game for the conference, or whether they have to expand to do so, either way, the Big 12 has to make big moves. But the word on the street is they may not be able to get all the votes they need to get the waiver to get the title game for a 10-team conference. If that is the case, the Big 12 must expand, something I've been saying for years. There is no doubt, in order for the Big 12 not only to survive, but to remain relevant, they must expand. So this is something that we'll be dealing with for the next, year or so. But the next week, the Big 12 will have their opportunity to put their waiver to a vote with all the Power 5 conferences and all the big wigs and the suits that matter. So we'll come back on another edition of Behind the Burnt Orange Curtain and talk about that on TexasSportsConnection.com. All right, I'm Rod Babers. We'll talk to you next week. From 10 on, hook 'em.